In today's episode, Beatrice asks, can you recommend a tool to tie social media data together and surface best performing content, campaigns, ad costs, abnormalities, and ROI? Ooh, in a word, no. At least not in the sense of a prepackaged off-the-shelf product that will just do it for you. You're going to have to do this yourself, or obviously bring in a partner to help you do it. But it is a doable thing. I've actually been working on a project like this for one of my customers, which has taken a long time and is still an ongoing process. And the reason for that is that it is the question here is many-part. There is a data science aspect. There's a exploratory data analysis aspect. There'll be some requirements to use things like machine learning. And in this case, there's a whole bunch of things going on. So let's unpack this question through the lens of the data science lifecycle, because I think that's a good place to start. So let's bring this up here. The data science lifecycle begins with the definition of the goals. And in this case, in Beatrice's question, if we unpack this, there's actually multiple goals. There is a goal to surface best performing content. There is a goal to look at ads cost. There's a goal for anomaly detection. And then there's this goal for ROI. And they will require separate techniques in order to pull these things apart. For example, ROI is actually a series of statistical and mathematical computations around the pricing and cost of your advertising. Detecting abnormalities and anomalies, that is data science for sure, machine learning somewhat. And then for best performance, even though it sounds simple, there is actually a set of machine learning tools that you would use to identify what variables lead to your best outcomes. So that definition part, step one of this multi-step process, is an important one. From there, you have to ingest the data. This is harder than it sounds too, because every social platform has its own APIs. Many of them have restrictions on what you can extract out, and you'll probably have to use third-party data sources. So if you use a posting tool like Agorapulse, if you use brand monitoring tools like Talkwalker and Brand24, if you use competitive monitoring tools like Spreadfast and Sprinkler and Sprout Social and Simply Measured, you're going to see all these different tools that will have repositories for your data. And don't forget, then you have to go into Google Analytics and get data out of there. You have to go into your marketing automation system, get data out of there. Get into your CRM and get data out of there. So that's ingesting all these different data sources and finding a way to bring them into one place so that you can do analysis on them. The third step is the analysis of the data itself. And this is analyzing the condition of the data. So it's not even doing the full exploratory data analysis. This is just, what did we get? Is it in good condition? Are there anomalies with it? Are there things that you need to fix in the data itself? Was your Google Analytics tracking code off for 2 days by accident? All those things. The next step is to repair the data, fix it up, clean up any things that need to be removed, normalize it. Some measurements, if you want to be able to do effective attribution analysis, you have to do some level of normalization and converting things to a different scale so that you can do apples to apples comparison. So there's a lot of that repairing and cleaning, and then preparing the data, getting it ready for your thorough analysis. The next step after that is augmentation. You need to be able to bring in more third-party data. So search data, for example, is incredibly powerful and important when it comes to doing social media analysis, because you want to know if your audience is what they're looking for, mirrors what they're talking about. And if so, you can use that later on. So you want to bring in that augmentation. Now you're finally ready to do the data exploration. It took a while to get here. The data exploration is when you look at mins and maxes and medians and quartiles and the characteristics of the data set. What is in this thing? What questions are we capable of answering with it? And if you can't answer all the questions, you actually have to go back to the start and bring in new data and repeat those initial cycles. After that, you do your comparisons to figure out what happened, what's important, what's not, and then your predictions. What are the things that we need to be able to forecast forward? So when we're talking about things like ROI or best performing content, can we predict what content performs the best? You'll build some hypotheses around that. You will prescribe based on the data. So if we know that Twitter tweets on Tuesdays are important. We want to be able to prescribe something from that. All this rolls up into a model. It can either be a machine learning model or a statistical data science model, whatever. But it has to be something that essentially is the playbook of how your data behaves, and that it gives you some rules and guidelines for what to do. Then you validate that model and refine it. Hypothesis testing. If tweets on Tuesdays are the thing, then let's do more tweets on Tuesdays and see if our numbers go up. If the key performance indicators we care about go up. Once we've proven that the model actually works, we deploy it and we observe and make sure that the model continues to work in the field. This process, it's a lengthy process and it's an expensive process, but if you do it right, it has multiples on your return on investment because it makes everything else you do impactful. But is there a tool to do this? No, not even close. To do something like this requires typically multiple tools and custom code. So you would have a big database of some kind. I personally use Google's BigQuery a lot for stuff like this. There's a programming language that sits on top of it. I use the programming language R. Other people will recommend things like Python. You can use tools like IBM Watson Studio to help with some of this, especially if you want to be able to have a continuous production model, but that gets even more expensive. And you want to do this as a proof of concept first to make sure there's a there and you can answer these questions before you drop a couple $1 million on a system. And then you roll this out and you have it in production, and you have systems and software monitoring your model to make sure it's working. So process-wise, you would build a proof of concept, prove that there's there, up-level it to production, deploy it, and then monitor it on an ongoing basis. It's not easy. It's not fast, and there is absolutely nothing off the shelf that will do this. Beware of any vendor that makes the bold claim that they can do any of these things together. You can have individual point solutions that can help you with little things like, what content had the most engagements, but that is only in a tiny silo. It is not a comprehensive picture of all the activities that you do and of all the data that you have access to. Other tools can help you with ad cost, of course, and that's fine if you're trying to confine your study just to that little piece of data. But if you want the big picture, this is the process you have to do. It's a lot. If you have any further questions, please leave them in the comments. Otherwise, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.